The crowd roared like a storm breaking over the horizon, a relentless wave of noise crashing against the walls of the packed arena. Flashing lights, pounding music, and the unmistakable hum of anticipation filled the air as two fighters stood in opposite corners, each carrying the weight of a legacy built through sweat, blood, and unshakable will. This wasn't just another fight. This was history in the making. Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford, two of the greatest warriors the sport had ever seen, finally meeting under the bright lights. For years, fans had debated, argued, and dreamt about this moment. Could Canelo's power, precision, and relentless pressure break through Crawford's elusive surgical counterpunching? Would Crawford's ability to switch stances, his mind operating like a chess master in the heat of combat, neutralize Canelo's calculated aggression? There were no easy answers, only speculation, but tonight, speculation ended. The truth would be written in leather and sweat, carved into the canvas beneath their feet. Both men had climbed through different battlefields to arrive at this exact moment. Canelo, the iron-willed Mexican warrior, had built an empire on the backs of champions, fighting through weight divisions, proving time and again that his discipline and fire were unmatched. He wasn't just strong, he was patient, precise, and relentless. A fighter who could break his opponent down round by round until there was nothing left but submission. Opposite him, Crawford stood like a shadow ready to strike. The Nebraska-born technician had made a career of turning doubters into believers, his adaptability in the ring nothing short of genius. He didn't just beat his opponents, he dissected them, forcing even the toughest challengers into a cruel game of survival they never won. As the referee brought them to the center of the ring, their eyes met, no words exchanged, no need for bravado. The energy between them was sharp enough to cut through steel. This was a clash between two men who had never run from a challenge, who had spent their entire lives chasing perfection. The announcer's voice boomed through the arena, rattling bones and sending a fresh wave of electricity through the crowd. Every seat was filled, every camera was locked in, every breath was held in anticipation of the opening bell. This was the kind of fight that didn't just determine a champion, it defined an era. The final instructions were given, gloves were touched, and in that fleeting second before the bell rang, a realization settled over everyone watching. This wasn't just a fight between two greats. This was a moment that boxing would never forget. Then the bell rang. Canelo stepped forward first, his foot pressing into the canvas with a measured confidence. He didn't rush, didn't overextend, just a slight shift in weight. A slow hunt, the same way he had dismantled dozens of opponents before. Crawford, calm as ever, let his lead hand hover just outside range, his eyes scanning every twitch, every tell. They had studied each other for years, but studying was one thing, feeling the weight of the moment, the sheer force of presence across from them, was something else entirely. The first punch was a test. A sharp jab from Canelo, nothing reckless, just enough to probe. Crawford slipped just out of reach, responding with a feint of his own, a subtle flicker of movement that hinted at something bigger. The crowd reacted to every shift, every nuance, but inside the ring, the noise faded. It was just them now, two masters shaping a fight that had yet to reveal its true form. Seconds stretched into minutes, and the first round unfolded like a chess match, each man setting traps, forcing the other to react. Canelo's left hook, the punch that had shattered so many opponents, sailed inches from Crawford's chin as he rolled with it, countering with a crisp right that landed clean on Canelo's guard. There was no panic, no hesitation, only adjustments. Then, something changed. The second round started, and Crawford's rhythm sharpened. He began touching Canelo more, finding angles that forced the Mexican star to reset. A snapping jab, a sudden shift to southpaw, a looping shot around the guard, nothing devastating, but each touch, a reminder that Canelo wasn't the only one who could dictate pace. The crowd sensed it too, murmurs growing between roars as Crawford's confidence built. But Canelo had been here before. He had fought men who thought they could outmaneuver him, Men who believed movement alone could keep them safe. And just as Crawford seemed to be settling in, Canelo adjusted. A body shot short, brutal, and perfectly placed crashed into Crawford's ribs, forcing him to take a half step back. It wasn't just power, it was precision, the kind that left a mark long after the round ended. Crawford's eyes flickered with understanding. He nodded, just slightly, as if acknowledging the move. Then, without warning, he exploded forward. A right hand, fast and unexpected, clipped Canelo's temple, followed by a left uppercut that grazed his chin. The crowd gasped. Canelo, the man known for his granite composure, had been forced to take a backward step. It was the first true moment of danger, a flash of unpredictability that sent shockwaves through the arena. For the first time, uncertainty seeped in, not just for the fighters, but for everyone watching. This wasn't going to be the slow, methodical breakdown people had expected. This was something else. And neither man had any intention of backing down. Canelo steadied himself, rolling his shoulders as he absorbed the moment. He had felt power before, speed before, but Crawford's precision carried something different, something calculated, almost surgical. A fighter who thought 2, 3 moves ahead was dangerous, but a fighter who could execute those moves under pressure? That was a problem. The rounds pressed forward, each one more intense than the last. Canelo dug to the body with ruthless efficiency, his left hook carving into Crawford's ribs, forcing him to pivot, to think twice before planting his feet. But Crawford, ever the strategist, adapted on the fly. He began luring Canelo in, making him commit just enough to create openings, then striking with sharp counters. His jab became a scalpel, slicing through defenses, disrupting timing. By the 8th round, both men were showing the battle in different ways. Crawford's midsection bore the evidence of Canelo's bodywork, red, bruised, each breath costing him something. Canelo, meanwhile, had a slight swelling under his right eye, a testament to the pinpoint accuracy of Crawford's shots. Neither showed weakness. Neither backed down. Then came the moment no one expected. Midway through the 10th round, Canelo launched a right hand meant to end it all. He had timed it perfectly, read Crawford's movement, saw the opportunity, and missed. Crawford dipped low, let the punch sail over his shoulder, and in a blur of motion, fired an uppercut that snapped Canelo's head back. For the first time in years, Canelo's legs buckled. The arena erupted, half in shock, half in sheer disbelief. Canelo stumbled, glove touching the canvas just enough for the referee to step in and start the count. The Mexican warrior lifted his head, eyes burning with defiance, and stood before the count of 3. No hesitation. No protest. Just the realization that this fight had reached a level no one had anticipated. The final rounds were a testament to who they were. Canelo, refusing to let the moment define him, pushed forward with renewed intensity, his combination sharper, his defense tighter. Crawford, knowing he had cracked the uncrackable, refused to be reckless. He remained precise, methodical, answering every assault with one of his own. As the final bell rang, both men stood firm, breathing heavy, bodies worn but spirits unbroken. They had tested each other in ways no one else had. The decision would be made by the judges, but the real verdict had already been written in the war they had waged. When the scorecards were read, there was silence before the announcement. And then, a result no one had predicted: a split draw. Gasps filled the arena. Some cheered, some groaned, but neither fighter protested. They had given everything, pushed each other beyond limits even they hadn't known existed. A winner had not been decided, but something even rarer had been achieved: respect, the kind only forged in battle. Crawford nodded, a slight smirk playing at his lips. Canelo, ever the warrior, extended his glove. No words needed to be spoken. This wasn't the end.